Tinnitus. What is tinnitus? Tinnitus is a constant ringing or buzzing in your ear or both ears, and nobody else can hear it. The noise you hear can come from being around loud noises or loud music. Tinnitus is a common problem. It affects about 15 to 20% of people and is especially common in older adults. There are therapies to help with tinnitus.
We're coming up on the Tinnitus Awareness Week, and I've been asked to give a little talk about tinnitus. And I want to start by telling you that tinnitus is not a disease. It's a symptom, and it's very common. Basically, 80% of our patients with hearing loss will have tinnitus, and in my experience, about 5% of my patients who have normal hearing have tinnitus. So it can be brought on by any number of things. And in many times, we don't necessarily find a cause. But it is important that patients who do complain of tinnitus have an evaluation, which would include an audiogram or hearing test, and they should see an ear, nose, and throat physician to rule out serious underlying conditions. The most common cause of hearing loss is either exposure to loud noise or just the normal aging process. So, of course, prevention is good. We can't prevent aging, that's normal, but we can prevent exposure to too much noise with the proper use of hearing protection, such as earplugs or ear muffs, when exposed to any kind of loud noise, such as power tools or working in a noisy environment, or certainly we see a lot of rock concerts these days where people are exposed to a tremendous amount of very loud noise. And I heard that biofeedback can be helpful. In other words, teaching patients to relax, teaching patients to become more aware of how their emotions and their situation can affect their tinnitus.
However, there are ways to improve your hearing as well. Our guest, Morenike Oyenusi, is a Nigerian-American lawyer and author. She shares with us why she wrote a book for young people with the condition tinnitus. Tell me why you picked those two particular books, which we need to mention the name of the two books that I saw. Tell me a little bit about them and what inspired you.
So I've written two books. My first book is Chasing Butterflies in the Sunlight. And Chasing Butterflies in the Sunlight is actually loosely based on my childhood growing up in Nigeria. You know, I had such a wonderful childhood growing up on a university campus in Nigeria, where my father was a professor there, and my mother, you know, she was a librarian and a historian, as I mentioned. And it was just such a great experience. And I thought to myself as I was in my teens that one day I'd like to write about this and just let people know what kind of childhood I had. And then especially when I began to have children, I wanted to let them know about my background, my history. And so the idea came to me to write stories about Runke, the character in the book, which are very loosely based on my childhood growing up there. And, you know, in the book, she has lots of nice adventures, and she lives in a multi-racial, multi-ethnic society on this university campus, and she has a great time. She has adventures. She travels within Nigeria, she travels around the world. And all that is loosely based on the experience that I had as a child, you know, and I wanted to just share that with the world.
Okay, and your second book that you wrote?
My second book that I wrote is Isaiah and the Orchestra of Sounds. And that actually was inspired by my experience as well. In 2019, November, I began to have challenges with tinnitus. Tinnitus is a condition where you can hear noises in your ear that nobody else can hear, you know, and it's a lot of the time it's due to hearing loss. And I discovered in November 2019 that I had partial hearing loss in my right ear, and that triggered all the tinnitus sounds. And, you know, it was very distressing for me. And so I began to write down my thoughts, and eventually those thoughts became a poem, and it became a really long poem. And initially I thought, you know, I was going to try and send that poem to a journal and have that published. And I didn't hear anything back from the one journal that I sent it to. So I thought, well, I just sort of set it aside. And then one day, like the Holy Spirit told me, basically you can make a book of this, write a book and tell people, especially young people, about this condition called tinnitus, and tell them about the fact that loud noise can trigger hearing loss and it can trigger tinnitus. So it all then became a book. I found an illustrator to illustrate it, and it's geared towards young people, teenagers, preteens, and their families, just to share knowledge about tinnitus and what the kind of condition it is, and how you can take proactive steps to protect your hearing. So that's how the book came about.
Are you going to be writing any more books?
Yes, I plan to write more books. I have a couple of books in the offing. I'm, working on a couple of books, and I hope to continue writing. And my dream is to publish other people's books as well. My publishing entity, so far it's published my 2 books, but my goal is to publish other people's books, especially children's books and books that are inspirational. So I hope to start doing that soon. I really hope they get into the school system. I recently talked to a group of elementary school students at one of the public schools in southern Baltimore, and that was a really lovely experience. The children sent me some really nice messages and notes, saying how much they enjoyed me reading my book. I read Chasing Butterflies, a story in Chasing Butterflies to them. But as you said, Isaiah, it's really important to get Isaiah into the hands of our young people, because, listening to music with headphones, loud music, going to loud concerts, even football games can damage your hearing after a period of time. So, our children and our youth don't know, when we as parents tell them don't listen to loud music, I think they think, well, we're just, these are our parents, what would they say? But it really is important for them to know that loud noise can damage your hearing, and it can lead to hearing loss, and it can lead to tinnitus.
So find a different way we gonna set that place for me say, we only wanna make hopla, we don't wanna go.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also go to my network, the Kelly Hill Ross Network.com. There we're streaming live the best of Baltimore. We also have Kelly's News Reaction Team, where you can give your opinion. And the question for this month is, do you think Tyler Perry has changed the movie industry? In our next show, we're going to feature the Blackstone brothers, 3 brothers who got together to form their own whiskey distillery and make their own brandy. So don't forget, hold on to what you got until you can get what you want, and tune in. See ya.